Crazy technology. And we're live.
Yeah, we are live now. Yeah, I can see it there.
Awesome. All right. Hey, well, welcome to Meet the Heroes with Commerce Hero. And today we're with Juan Alonso. Did I pronounce that right? Juan Alonso?
Juan Alonso.
Yeah. And you're with, the name of your company, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's
a Stemfli. Well, I don't know exactly how to pronounce it because it's German and my German is not not perfect.
Very good.
But yeah, it's Stemfli.
Cool. And that's out in Switzerland or Germany?
Yeah, that's in Switzerland. We are in Bern.
Okay.
But we also have some an office in Zurich, and yeah, also there is a small office in Poland too. But yeah, the main offices are here in Bern.
Okay, nice. And did you move there? You don't sound like you're from Switzerland natively.
No. Yeah, I'm Spanish. I'm coming from Spain, and I moved here to Switzerland 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, I've been living here in Switzerland in different cities, and at the moment I've been here in Bern for the last year, and I hope that I can stay here a bit longer than than in the past, because it's like every 2 years I move somewhere else, and then we don't really have time to get used to settle in. But now we are okay here in Bern.
Okay, you have a family and stuff?
Well, I just have a girlfriend, and she's Spanish too. We came here together 5 years ago.
Cool.
And yeah, it's great to be here with someone else. And yeah, my family is all in Spain.
Okay. So when are you going to pop the question? No, I'm just kidding. You could do it. You could do it live. Cool, man. So, how do you like working with? How do you say it again?
Stemfli.
How do you like working with them?
Yeah, I really like it. It's going well. I've been working here for 1 year now. Yeah, in the next month I will be here for 1 month, for 1 year, and so far so good. We are just doing Magento projects, and we have some freedom to do what we like to do, so we can decide what we like and what we might not like so much. We can also do some open source things. And yeah, we are getting interesting Magento 2 projects, and yeah, we started with Magento 2 like 8 months ago. So we have released 3 live projects till the moment, and now this week I just started with the 4th one. So it's going well.
So you just started doing Magento 2 8 months ago?
Exactly. Yeah, as I started here, I didn't have any experience with Magento 2. I only had experience with Magento 1 because I didn't have the opportunity to start a project with Magento 2 yet. And then, yeah, like 3 months after starting, we got our first Magento 2 project here in the company. And yeah, we had the chance to get started with it.
That's awesome. That's because, you know, it's been, I remember I first looked at it for the meeting in Austin, the developer beta, which was, a while ago now. And it's gone through different sort of iterations, you know, but like 8 months ago, that was the time to really, and you guys are doing some interesting stuff with tooling and code generation, and we're gonna check that out. So that's cool. I mean, you've just 8 months been jumping in, but it sounds like you just dove all the way in and you've got some live projects.
I mean, when you have experience with the Magento 1, you know what you can do with Magento. It's just that Magento 2 is like a completely new project in terms of coding. So the database is still the same and the functionalities are more or less the same. but coding is something different. And then as we started, we faced some difficulties. We noticed that we were not as fast as we wanted to be. And then we came up with some tools that we are using. We have been using them for the last months, and now we just in the case of the deployment tool, we just made it public in the last 2 weeks, but we have been using it for the last months. And it was just a way for us to face these difficulties or the things that we didn't like so much from Magento 2.
Yeah. And the in terms of improving performance and stuff like that, are the code generation and things tools we're going to look at today? Why are you laughing? You're laughing.
I just waiting for your question. I don't know.
Are the tools we're going to look at today gonna be related to performance stuff?
No, not to performance stuff. So nothing to do with the performance. It's just tools made for developers. The generation tool is just a tool that helps a developer to write code a bit faster.
Cool.
And the deployment tool is just a tool to release your projects, your new versions of a project into your server. But performance-wise, we haven't done anything. So we just use.
You haven't open sourced those tools yet?
No, we don't have. We use normal stuff from Magento, like Varnish and the different caching options.
Okay.
And the kind of shops we have are medium size, and so far we haven't need to do anything specific in terms of performance. So it's going well as it is.
Cool. Sweet. So maybe we can jump into the screen share portion.
Okay.
And you can share your screen and then show us some of these tools.
Okay. So I will start.
Yeah, I was to say I'm not. I haven't been doing much Magento 2 stuff, so I imagine me as like the client that knows absolutely nothing about anything and asks a lot of really bad questions.
Okay, so
that's the role that I'll play today.
So first of all, I will be showing the code generation tool. That's a tool that we use to generate automatically some code that it might be a bit difficult to remember all the files that you need to create. Just to introduce you to the reason why we created this tool, as I started working with Magento 2, we noticed that we had to create a lot of the different XML files with different formats and classes.
Right.
And it was a bit a pain in the ass to go to the core code, look at it, copy paste it, and start working into it.
Totally.
So at the beginning, I thought, okay, I don't want to be copy pasting all the time because it's a new platform, and I will be working with it for the next several years.
Yep.
So then I started creating PHP Storm templates just to see if I could improve it just using PHP Storm. So I also created, we also created a project in the GitHub which contains a list of light templates that we use while we develop. At the moment, there are like 80 different ones.
It's
so
awesome.
I started working with that, and it went well. But at some point, I had to do a CRUD module.
Yep.
And then it was a bit of a pain in the ass, and because you need more than 30 files to get this running. And doing it the first time, it was okay. I was able to understand a bit better how Magento was working. But when I finish it, I said, okay, this is something I don't want to do again. I don't want to go to to a module that I already did and copy paste all these files and remember exactly what I have to edit.
Totally.
So I said, okay, I will need something to overcome this problem. And then it was when I read a blog post talking about code generation tools. There are others that are doing something different. But we decided to create our own, just because we wanted to create a tool that was easy to extend, so that it was really easy to create new templates, because we will need in the future to create many more, not only this CRUD at the beginning, but others in the future. So we created.
Sorry for the live templates. I think I saw like an animated GIF of that the other day. Can you, if you have it open, can you show those? I've been using PHP Storm for a few years, but I haven't gotten into the live templates. So when I saw that,
live templates are just so here in PHP Storm. You have live templates, okay, and you can create. Well, there are some already defined, but then you can create the ones you want.
And can you just import these all at once from GitHub, or?
Yeah, you go from GitHub. You can just install it into. There is a jar. Where is here?
Jar file.
In release, there is a jar file that you can install it in PHP Storm, and then you get all these live templates. And the idea of a live template is that you get some code that you already did. You copy, you paste it here. And then you replace some stuff with variables like these ones.
Right.
Okay. So then, when you save that and you are in your file, you can do something like that, and then you get your code generated.
Yep.
Okay. And or you can, for example, go to a PHP file, and then sometimes I just take this, I do controller. And then you get your thing generated, and
Yep, it's cool.
And it jumps to the next. In case that we had several variables, you jump to the next one and you input all the values you want. So this is working great, but this is just for one file, so you can only create one file at a time.
Right.
And for this specific case with CRUD modules, as I said, you need 30 files. So I said, okay, it will be great if there will be a tool that is creating all these files for me.
Yeah.
And just asking me to replace the variables or the values that are specific for this module.
Yeah.
And I created this tool with the same idea. Well, in fact, I created a tool which is called Universal Code Generator. And this is the tool that is doing all the stuff. But this tool doesn't have any templates because it's not platform specific. And then we have the Magento code generator, which is depending on this universal code generator that is doing the thing. And this code generation only contains these templates that are Magento specific. And these templates are just, so if we have a look at the front controller, for example, are just a bunch of files like with the Magento format with the placeholders that will be automatically replaced. Okay, so like here is just Magento code copy pasted, and like in PHP Storm, we replace some values with the placeholders. Okay.
Yep.
So creating a new module is just taking some code that we already created, putting it here under this template folder, and doing a replace of some values that the user needs to input at the time he generates the code. Okay.
Yep.
So let's do a short demo about it. So we have here our
By the way, sorry. I think I asked you about this briefly the other day. I know there's the Pestle tool by Alan Storm, which does some code generation. Was there any like specific differences from that one, or you were just kind of building this based on what you were doing?
Well, the thing is, when I knew as I knew about the code generation tools, my first idea was to use this Pestel from Alarm Store.
Yeah.
But this one didn't have the option to create CRUD modules yet. So I said, okay. Well, I said, okay, I cannot use it, but I will try to extend it, and I will try to contribute to this cool project. And then I went into the code, and I saw that it was not so easy to create a new template. So I could manage to do it because, in the end, you can understand the code, but it's like the code it generates. You need to create several different methods and put this code in PHP code. So like strings that they will be replaced when you run your commands. And I thought, okay, I can create this template, but if in the future I need more, I want to have something that is faster or easier to extend it in the future. Yeah, and this was the main reason that so both tools are doing exactly the same. It's just that the one we use is easier to create new templates because it's just copy pasting code and replacing the same idea as PHP PHP Storm live templates, but for several files. And the other tools have some kind of logic inside. Might be that you can do other things there because you can do some PHP code to ask some questions in the between and do different actions on the way you are generating the code. But this one is just generating these files that are there and replacing these parameters.
Gotcha. Match your use case a little
so
bit.
Just thinking about the future and extensibility rather than current usability.
Right. Got it.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So let's do the demo. So we have here our Magento project, and we can create a commerce hero demo model. And then what we need to do is to go to this new module we created, commerce hero. And then when we are in the module root folder, we can start using our generator. So we see here that we have different options to execute. So we can list the different templates that are available. Yep. And we can select one of these ones to generate. So let's start with a module. Generate module. And then it asks me for the name. So commerce hero and demo. I made I made a mistake with the commerce hero and demo, and then this is right. So what this actually does is just generates these 3 files here.
Yep.
With the proper code with the variables replaced, so commerce hero, demo, and the registration data, the file. So now we can go forward, and let's imagine that we need a front controller. So we can do front controller, and then our controller can be block post.
Cool.
And then we press yes, and we get 5 files generated, which are block, the controller, and the root XML file, and also the layout XML and the PHTML file.
So many files.
Well, it's just when you create a new view on the front end, you usually need a block and the routing.
Yeah.
So, we can write here. Here we will show.
Do you use any other frameworks other than Magento?
Sorry?
Do you use any other frameworks other than Magento?
At work?
Yeah. Well, just in general.
Well, I have experience with Symfony 2 as well, but at the moment, yeah, I did that in the past. I work with also for with Akeneo technology. So this is a PIM system based on Symfony 2, and also a Symfony 2 project. But at the moment, we are focused on Magento 2. Might be that in the future we do some commerce, Oro commerce project, and
nice.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, and now the last thing I would like to show you is how to create a CRUD module.
CRUD. In America, we call it CRUD.
CRUD, yeah. Generate. And then we say that we want to create a block. And this is the only parameter we need to enter. Then we click yes. And then we get this 30 files created.
Yep.
Okay.
Lord, that's a lot of fun.
And yeah, this doesn't work automatically by itself, because you still need to say, okay, which fields you want to show in your form or in your grid. So at the end of this files generation, you get a short description of what you still need to do. So yeah, if we have a couple of minutes, I will show it. So we have to add here the fields into our setup class. And then for that, I use this PHP Storm Lite templates. So we have to add our fields. And then we say that we want to create a title, require true. Okay. So scope. Cool. Okay. Then we need to add our files, our fields into the UE components. So yeah, like for the UE components, when you create that on your own, you need to create this file.
Wow.
This is just default code. There is nothing there. and all the values are always like a vendor, package, and your module name.
Yeah.
Followed by some data source, okay, or column.
Okay.
But this is standard. So if you do it manually, you need to go to another module, copy all the stuff, and then replace all these values with your module specific ones.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So here we can.
When I did a little bit of Magento 2 stuff, I didn't. That was, I think, before the UI components, or for some reason I hadn't seen them at all. But I've heard people talk about them. What's on our really super high level? What in the world is this thing doing? The UI components.
The
file.
Well, is to be honest, you can.
I just generate the code.
I think if you want to know more about this, you can read one of the Alan Storm posts, because as he was creating his generation tool, when he added this CRUD template, he was writing some posts about what exactly these UE components are doing. So I think it's better explained there, but in the end, as I see it, it's like defining the fields that you will show on the front end, and also adding some relations with other classes and other stuff that is taking care of displaying the form and the grid with the corresponding logic. But to be honest, exactly what all the things are doing. Yeah, I did it once. I did it 8 months ago. It took me 3 days to get it working and to understand what was everything for.
Yeah.
And since then, when I have to do it, I just run this command. I get it generated, and I don't care so much about it. Yeah, there are here some you have, you can specify bookmarks or listing top. You can add some toolbars on top of your grid. There is also some functionality regarding the filters, because if you have the grid, you might want to filter depending on some fields or values, and it's all defined there. And then the values you give here are like going to another class definition or something.
Yeah,
but
that's actually good that you. That's actually good that you have it abstracted away. You have it abstracted away. You don't need to think about it anymore. The flexibility is there if you need to use it, but you don't have to.
Let's put it live. So I'm using it because I know what is in the code, because I did it, and I took the time at the beginning to understand exactly how this was working. So if someone is starting now with Magento 2 and uses this tool to generate the code, I will encourage him to try to understand the code the first time, just to be sure that everything is in place, and not just push code into the project without knowing anything about it. Okay.
So basically, nobody should use the code generator.
No.
Until they.
It's also a good way to learn about Magento, because you get a working a module or a working code, and then you can dig into this code to know exactly what it's doing. But the first time you do it, I will recommend that you understand what the code is doing, and not just saying, okay, this is a UI component. It's a lot of code there, but it's better if you understand what you are doing. Okay, so we add here this thing, and then next
if
step.
This thing works on the first run, I'm going to be super impressed, because
we'll see.
Got me interrupting questions here. You've got 75 files, all this manual entry.
So field boolean is active, sort order 10, and then
you're like, now I really got to concentrate to make sure this works.
No, I'm just finishing up, and now last step is to do something on the data provider, which is here, listing, to ensure that our fields will be shown on the grid, because it seems that it's not enough to just specify these fields on the XML file, but you also need to do it into the data provider. So it's active and right there. Okay, and then everything should be okay. So I think you can do here. Next step is if you want to add the main menu tab in a different place, so you could edit this file. And if you want to add some validation when you save the form, you can do it at this specific class. But we can do it without it. So now we'll see if this actually works.
Moment of truth.
So now we go to our module. We need to enable it. Enable the module. Okay, right. Well, it didn't. I think you did. You didn't allow me to concentrate.
That's my goal. I'm trying to make this as hard as possible.
Wait
to actually demo it properly.
That's right. Magento. Yeah, there is some kind of.
Woo! Well, that's
well, I don't know.
That's fine. We won't worry about digging into it. I know how that goes, man. It's
Yeah, I tried before. It worked. I think there is some. Yeah, that's that. It's just that. Alias. Yeah, well, but the code is there, is generated. I can assure you that it will work. And then we should actually see the. We could go into the admin and then see that the new module is there, and you can save some data into it.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
No, that's fine. That's the name of the game, man. If I was doing this, I'd have a lot more errors than this. So that's the code generation side of things. And let me see some of those other templates real quick, because you've got the CRUD template. Yeah, so you've got
so you have the CRUD template with EAB attributes. So that means that this you can translate it.
Yeah.
So that's the most common one you want to create, and then all the other ones are just smaller ones.
Yeah.
Like for example, a logger. So a logger needs just 6 files.
Okay.
And they are not so complex. But the first time I did it, it's like you need to understand it. You create these files. It takes you 1 hour. And if I do it in the future, I don't want to invest this time again. So I just run this command and I get this files generated. And
that's great.
Yeah, so for a widget, you have a template too. If you want to start some JavaScript into a PHTML file, there is a JavaScript template too.
Mm-hmm.
There is a file model in case that you want to have media files into your module, because they are also a bit complex.
Right.
A console command.
That's great.
Yeah, so I created them as I was needing them. So if in the future I have to implement a payment module, for example, I might create a template for that. So I usually create a template whenever I do something that needs more than 3 files that are always with the same format.
That's the way to do it. You just do it. You're scratching your own itch and doing stuff as you need it, and then before you know, you've got 18 samples. And it's funny because I feel like a lot of the stuff I'm seeing here is the stuff I hear people complain about a lot. People complain about require.js is too complicated. They complain about UI components and all that kind of stuff. So you've gotten to the point.
I think exactly the same. And the thing is, as I was working with it, the first time I did this CRUD module, I was like, what the hell are these Magento 2 guys doing? Asking us to implement a file such big just to add a couple of fields on the front end. And then I was thinking like, oh my God, if I have to do that on a daily basis, it will be horrible. So I thought, I thought that there will be a better way. And in fact, there are other guys had already generation tools because they had the same problem. So at the moment, there are 4 generation tools. And I think people can use any of these ones to make his life a bit easier. And then we overcome this problem a little bit. There are still some Node.js things that are not so easy, but I think we all will find ways for the developers to make these things easier.
Power of the community. I love it.
Okay,
so that's the code generation, and then you've got some other things, deployment tools, and
that's the code generation thing. I would have been happy if it had worked, but there are.
Sorry, I feel bad now. I kept interrupting you because
I did a talk in Meet Magento Denmark to talk about code generations, and then I did a live demo there. Basically the same as we did here, and it worked well, and it usually worked.
See, you don't have somebody interrupting you every 3 seconds.
I'm pretty sure that when we finish our live streaming and I go into the code, I see some typo in a field or something that is making everything crash. But now I don't have the time to look into it. But anyway,
how do you how good are the error messages, do you feel? Because like sometimes something like this, if there's an error message that's easy to understand,
they are
quickly.
In terms of console commands, they are horrible. So if you have
Okay.
if you have an error in your front end, it's more or less okay. You get a log error or you get the error on the front end. But if you make a console command, or if you make something that breaks your console commands, because the problem we are having now is that when I try to enable the module, or when I try to run a bin Magento clean cache, I get this error that is telling me that Magento cannot load all the different commands available.
An abstract factory could not create an instance of Magento 7.
Yeah, and it's like, probably some some constructor class cannot be instantiated, but you don't know which one. And then the only thing you get here is like, try to clear all the caches and generators. But you don't know.
It's impossible. I mean, it's impossible.
Yeah, then it's a parser. But this is usually when you break something that has to do with the commands. We have created some Symfony commands for Magento, and if you make the mistake to instantiate a class or an error in the constructor, then the commands cannot be loaded anymore. And you have to go into your code and go into your constructor class, and what I usually do is to try to comment out this thing to find which object is really crashing the stuff.
Gotcha. Sometimes just having good error messages really makes all the difference. What do you think about like N98 Mage Run for M2 versus the native console?
Well, it's great. It's a great tool. We use this a lot. In fact, now I will be presenting the deployment tool, and we use this N98 Mage Run for a lot of the stuff we do during the deployment.
Oh, cool.
And it's just a great tool because you get extra commands, but you can also run the normal Magento commands if you don't get any errors, like in my case.
Okay.
But it's a great tool because it's a way to extend the Magento default commands.
Cool. So they don't have a lot of overlap in the two. There's not.
Sorry?
There's not a lot of overlap in N98 and the native console.
No. It's like basically the same. N98 is just adding extra functionalities.
Oh, cool.
But also using the ones that are existing. So it's like you can run Magento commands directly from the N98 binary, because they are loading both. You cannot. They don't conflict between them.
Cool.
It's a great thing.
Nice.
Okay. So then let's talk about the deployment tool.
All right.
let's see if this one works or not.
See if this one works. Let's do a live deployment to production real quick.
So the deployment tool is a tool to make deployments, to release new versions on your server. And we were using it for a while. It was quite specific for our needs, and like a couple of weeks ago, we decided to make it public. So now it's like more standardized for standard Magento projects. So I will do the demo on a server. So here we are on the server, and you need to install. You need to install this with Composer. You need to install it globally. So you just require this tool globally on your server, and then you can use this image to deployer. Okay. So if we are in the server, we see that we have here different folders that we need to make it work. Everything is already installed, but if we do make it here setup demo. So imagine that we are in an empty server where we have to set up this deployment. Then we can do deployer. and it tells me that the first thing I need to do is the setup. And this asks me for a Git repository URL, so I could give here HTTP whatever, my Git URL, then where exactly is the document root from my vhost pointing, so I can edit this path, where my Magento project is inside this project root, and then whether I have OP-Cache enabled or Varnish enabled. Okay, also how many languages I have on my shop, so I could say that I have German and US, and then it generates the basic structure you need to make new deployments. If it was really an empty server where we didn't have yet a database, then I could say that I also want to install this Magento database, and then it will create everything for me. But in this case, we don't need it.
Nice.
So now we have this structure. So we have the releases folder, share content. We have the public HTML, which is a symlink to the maintenance at the moment because we didn't release anything yet. And the deployment settings that you can. So these are just the basic configuration we set during the setup with our Git repo URL. And yeah, if we want to override some of the default functionality, we could also do it on this file. So this will be the setup. You need to do it only once, the first time you set up your server. And after that, you can release stuff. Okay, so now in this demo, I will try to make this. So we have our project. Okay, so this is the server. It's a new project that we just started, so it's quite empty. We can log into the admin. Okay, so I will be releasing a new version to this server, and the version is at the moment 1.2. And here, if we have a look at the releases, we see that we have released in the past 1.0, 1.1, and 1.2. So now I want to release 1.3, okay? So then I can do mage to deployer, release version 1.3, okay? And then the process starts. And this is the standard deployment, which is working with Composer, okay? So what is actually doing is creating a new version in a separate folder. So our site is still live, okay? Because it's doing everything in a separate place. And the first thing is to clone the repository and do Composer install. And then it starts generating the Magento files, which you need to do the Composer install, but the site is always live because everything is happening in a different place. So this will take about 3 minutes. First, we do the compilation. Second step is to generate all the static assets for the different languages. And after that, if everything went well, we will set up the maintenance, create a database backup, and run the Magento setup upgrade that actually updates the database with the new modules that we might be releasing, and the new, in case that we create new tables or we set new values.
Oh,
so
awesome.
the compile just went through, and now it comes the generation of the static assets. And after doing this Magento setup upgrade, then we switch to the new version and do a cleanup of all the. So now we are on the maintenance, I would say, because we just finished with the assets. We did the database backup, and now we will be live again. think. Yeah, so now we are on version 1.3.
Hey,
and we are
nice.
Yeah, this one work okay. And now we clean up the old releases. So by default is configured to keep only the last 3 releases, but you can edit this as you wish. And we also clean up the previous backups. So yeah, as I said, yeah, here we create the backup, setup, and now we do the setup upgrade, and at the end we just replace. So if we do now we have our public HTML pointing to the new release, and into the releases folders we have 1.3.
Sweet. The version number that shows in the admin in the green bar at the top, is that
coming from the folder.
Oh, cool. So that's part of the extension.
Yeah, it's not part of extension. Just another module we use to display different colors on the top of the admin, just we as developers sometimes we don't know where we are, so we have a red color for live, blue for developing, and green for local.
Nice.
And this tool, this module also checks the name of the folder. So if we are in the develop branch, we will see here develop.
Cool.
What this tool also does is, so this is like a default standard configuration that might work for everyone, because everyone has a Git repository with the composer.
Right.
And then, yeah, we think that it's quite easy. If you have a server, you can install it on your server, run the setup, and then you are ready to go to release new versions. It's not so cool to do the compilation and the generation of the assets on the server, because it takes like 3 minutes. Now it's not so bad. At the beginning of Magento 2, it was like 10 minutes or 15 minutes, which it was really resource consuming for the server. So it will be better to skip these 2 steps to do it somewhere else into a continuous integration environment. And then release to your server only a tar file that is already compiled.
Okay. Sure.
So we can do that too. Is in the documentation of the tool. Here there is a part that it tells you that if you already have a tar that is compiled, you can skip these two steps. So we can do a demo too. We can go to our settings, and then you can, this is just a copy paste from the documentation. So we say that we don't want to generate Magento files anymore. And then we say that instead of the normal Git clone and composer, the way to get the project will be, in this case, we will copy a file that we already have on the server. But you can say that you do an STP to connect to a remote place to download your archive.
Right.
Or maybe the best is if you have a continuous integration place. When you are done and you create this archive, you send it to the server, and then you can just take it from them. So this will be this example, and then the second step will be to do the tar when we build it. So now if we save that, and we do a release again. Was it release 1.4? Then we'll see that it takes like 30 seconds, because the only thing that it's doing is unzipping this tar, and then everything is already compiled. So it does the maintenance window and the database backup. And runs the setup upgrade, but the 2 steps that are more time consuming are skipped. So now we check it.
Do you have a way
we
for
are
it to
we are in version 1.4.
1.4. Nice.
And this took 30 seconds instead of 3 minutes that it took
before.
That's
awesome. Do you have a way for it to skip the database backup if there's no?
Yes, there is. So there are other commands available. To deploy, we can list the commands that are available here. So we can set or unset the maintenance when we want, and we can also replace. In case of a failure, if we want to roll back to a previous version, we can use this release live replace, and it will replace the current version with a previous one.
Oh, cool.
Okay, but if we have a look at the release command, here we see the different options, and one option is to skip database backup. So you can do this 1.5, the skip database backup, and then it does the same, but without the database. You can skip the maintenance set if you wish.
Oh, okay.
And you can also skip the step to set the permissions, because we also set the permissions for the new released version. So now we see we have the database backup create, but it's not showing anything because it's not doing anything.
Nice.
Okay.
It might be cool if it defaulted to not do the database backup if there was no upgrade scripts.
If there is no that, yeah. Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's not so. Yeah, it doesn't take so long to create the database backup, and you never know. By default, we decide to do it because something might crash, and then you always have the backup, and you can go back.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said, yeah, if we can identify that we are not writing anything new on the database, we could skip it. I just check today. There was a guy writing in Twitter that he was like writing a list of the things he might need to do when releasing, depending on the stuff, on the new stuff. And one of the things was, okay, when do I need to run the setup upgrade? So this might be an improvement. Just one last thing. Sure. We also have, now we just saw how you can deploy new versions. There is also another option to deploy always the developed version. So you can, instead of a specific version, you can write here a snapshot, and then it will take the developed version with a timestamp. And this is quite convenient because in our developed servers we don't create new versions every time while we are on develop. But we want to deploy always the latest version in develop. So this is another server, and there inside the releases we have always a snapshot and a timestamp. So it makes quite easy. If you have a continuous integration environment, you can, every time there is a new commit on the deployment on the develop server, on the develop branch, you can just trigger this command automatically on the server, and then your server will be always up to date.
Nice. Have you looked at the Capistrano?
The deployer.
Yeah.
How can I stop screen sharing?
Oh, click on the green.
Green.
Click on the green. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Hey, you're back.
Yeah, I was. I had a look at it. There is another cool deployment tool made by Dev98, the same guys who made Maze Run, in 98 Maze Run. And this one is based on deployer. It's a bit different, but it's also a cool tool. And the reason deployer is good, the reason why we are not using it is because we had this tool already working for Magento 1.
Oh, okay.
And then it was quite easy to switch to Magento 2, just adding the new commands. And at the time we built this one for Magento 1, there was no deployer there. But I also checked deployer to see if it makes sense to use deployer instead of this tool. And the thing is that deployer is quite good to to do the SSH connection to the server if you want to deploy remotely, and to do the switch from the new release version to the current Symlink. But everything in between these two steps is like you need to set up your command. So how to create the database backup and to generate the assets or the steps in between. And what we noticed is that in the end, we had more steps in between than the default ones from deployer. So if we had to implement all these steps in a separate class or in a separate tool, it would probably still make sense when we had just one tool for everything. But yeah, and that was the only reason. But for the default steps, deployer is a good beginning. If later you notice that you have many steps in between, yeah, depends.
Still there? Oh, I think I lost you for a second.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, you're back. Cool. Got it. Cool,
so,
man.
That was it.
That was great. That was awesome.
I'm a bit sad that the first. You ruined my presentation.
I ruined it. I know. Next time I'll do a demo. I'll do a live demo, and then I'll.
Well, for those ones who want to believe that this works, there is here in the CodeGenerator project there is a link to a video in YouTube.
Yeah.
Which is showing exactly the same, but with a successful ending.
Cool. Sounds good. And you've got the presentation you made where you did your live demo too. So cool, man. Well, that was fun. What do you got planned for the weekend?
Well, tomorrow I have a race because I'm jogging. Yeah, some months ago I decided that I wanted to start jogging.
Oh yeah.
And tomorrow I have a race, like 15 kilometers.
Okay.
And yeah, on Sunday I might go snowboarding.
Okay.
So
that sounds fun.
It might be a good weekend.
That's awesome, man. It's been like just over a year since the last time I went snowboarding. I didn't go this season. Missed out.
I think I started that in Switzerland. Yeah, because in winterside are great to do that. Yeah, if you don't, you might not have so many interesting things to do. But snowboarding here is great. So
yeah,
whenever the snow is good or the weather is good, my girlfriend and I try to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. All right, cool, man. Well, I think that's a wrap. That was fun.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
All right, thanks, man. Good talking to you. Are you going to Imagine?
No, unfortunately not. Okay. I would love to be there. I cannot make it this year. I've never been there, so it's something that I would like to do. So let's hope that next year I can do it. But you guys, maybe next year. You guys have fun. I'm just seeing all the people in Twitter getting crazy about Imagine, and and it's just a pity that I cannot.
We'll give you some shout outs while we're there.
Okay, perfect.
All right, man. Have a good one, dude.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.